Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Virginia Clean Cities Technology Happy Hour. Today, we'll be hearing from several leading companies on the state contract in Virginia for EV supply equipment. Our speakers today will include representatives from Autoflex, Bethel Electric, NovaCharge, and OpConnect. We'll be hearing about affordable level 2 equipment, as well as more advanced DC fast charging stations available on this cooperative contract for public colleges and universities, state agencies, and local governments. And now as we get started, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat for everyone. This is our Virginia Clean Cities vehicle contracting page. On there, you will be able to see the JMU EVSE contract. I decided to use this link rather than the JMU one because it was very long, but this also gives you an idea of some of the other contracts and incentives that we have going right now. Our speakers are on this contract today. This is also a good place for you guys to find their contact information if you are interested in following up with them at the end. I will go ahead and bring up our slides, and then we will kick it off with our Autoflex team.
My name is Luis McDonald. I'm the founder and president of Autoflex Fleet, and we are a certified company by the Commonwealth of Virginia as a minority and service disabled veteran-owned small business. And we have a program that we've started called Vet Cars, and it trains and hires veterans for green jobs in the electric vehicle marketplace. And we see it as an emerging industry. So we're going in there as a Vet Cars as a service. It's a cloud-based concierge service that's going to support EV fleets in Virginia and nationwide. Who do I tell to click to the next slide?
You can just say next slide and I'll move forward for you.
Slide. Good. That's everybody. Just want to give our background on the business. We started back in 1987. So this is our 35th anniversary. And so, you know, you always have to reinvent yourself every so often. So that's why we're transitioning into the software as a service platform to support our electric vehicle contracts. We began in 1992 as a federal GSA scheduled contractor, leasing vehicles to the federal fleet. So as alternative fuel vehicles came into the federal fleet, you know, we started getting more involved with infrastructure. Okay. So in 1999, we were selected by Ford Motor Company to be the project coordinator for the installation of over 500 electric vehicle charging stations at post offices all over the state of California and in Washington, D.C. And that program stopped in 2001 because of 9/11. But 20 years later, the post office has now announced that they're getting ready to restart that program, and they're going to be ordering about 50,000 charging stations over the next 3 to 4 years. So we're excited about that. In 2010, we started the Vet Cars program to train veterans for installation jobs. We had some grants and we did some installation work, and we went through community college training. You know, we've been leasing electric vehicles, monetizing tax credits and things like that. But what we're excited about today is just in the last 6 months, we were awarded the Commonwealth of Virginia contract to supply charging stations. It's a multiple award scheduled contract, and we feel very fortunate to be one of the companies awarded the contract. And so we're excited, and, you know, we're going to be moving forward with the contract with our new platform as a Vet Cars as a service to be more of a concierge success for our customers, and at the same time create some green jobs. So please, next slide. Great. So been in business 35 years. Our experience and credentials over 25 years in regards to government fleets and electrification. We've been on GSA schedule going on 30 years. So we've been leasing vehicles in all 50 states. We've been in the pilot program for charging stations as well. So we've gained some pretty good experience. We've been, like I said, monetizing, financing the vehicles, but we can also do that with the charging stations, and we can even include the cost of installation in a financing package. So it's like a turnkey solution. We've been working with the airports in Virginia very closely, especially now. They are all moving towards charging stations. I don't know if any of you are that familiar with the ACDB program, but that's under the Department of Transportation. And so we're certified ACDBE, and we're working with the Virginia airports and hoping they will order off the Virginia contract to put in their charging stations and benefit with the ACDB subcontracting program, which our company, we usually participate and perform either as a prime equity contractor or as a value-added subcontractor to support people's supply diversity programs. Again, we are, I believe we're the first customer success concierge in the fleet electrification industry, and we're gearing up to support this contract in Virginia, as well as our federal contracts nationwide. Next slide, please. So we the contract that we're awarded there's the contract number that we have. So you could either purchase or finance. Everything is OEM supplied and warranted. We represent most of the major manufacturers in the charging industry, ChargePoint, Blink, ABB, some of the smaller volumes, Webasto. We've got those on our Virginia contract, and we have others as well on our federal contract. So again, we're certified here in Virginia, and we're a big advocate for supplier diversity, and hoping that your fleet organizations, will support this contract and the opportunities for the infrastructure and developing the market here in Virginia. The Mid-Atlantic Electrification Partnership is a cooperative effort really within the Clean Cities coalitions for the Greater Washington Clean Cities and the Virginia Clean Cities. And so this has been an opportunity to work with some of the manufacturers that are in the grant program for the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Partnership. We were asked to support the effort in Arlington County with condos and mixed use properties. So we went out there, and I was surprised to learn that, of over 200 condo properties, there was interest in charging their electric vehicles, but they were not interested in giving up their parking spaces. So that was kind of a challenge that we decided to go out and actually meet with these people. We set up site visits and surveys to offer a install plan for charging stations, and must have done about a dozen condo mixed use properties, of which several are moving forward towards a grant opportunity under the partnership. One of the properties was really is going to serve as a showcase. They have condos, they have mixed use restaurants, banks, a post office. So we actually, it's opportunity there to provide grant opportunities to the condo, tenants. There's some of the tenants there are state agencies, and then the post office is a federal agency that can order off our federal contract. So it's an exciting opportunity right there in Arlington, right across from the Key Bridge. Again, we're working with the airports, hoping that they'll steer towards the Virginia contract for ordering the opportunity with the mixed use property. And, I think Virginia is one of the greatest states to go visit, a lot of tourist sites. So I really want to support recharging at many of the tourist locations that I consider national treasures, you know, Williamsburg and, you know, Arlington Cemetery and several other places. So anyways, thanks for the opportunity to introduce myself, my company, and the contract that we've just been awarded. We're excited to support the Virginia Clean Cities to make it a success. So thank you, and appreciate this time.
Excellent. Thank you, Luis. That is a great overview. I am just going to, after each of our speakers, I'm going to pop that link back in the chat. So if anyone is curious, all you need to do is click on that link, click on that JMU contract, and then you'll be able to find all of our speaker contact information, as well as the JMU procurement contact information in there. If you are a university, college, state, or local agency here in Virginia, you will be eligible to use that contract. And then up next, we will take it over to Bethel Electric, and they have asked that we start off with a video. So I am going to go ahead and get that queued up. And then after we're done, I'll hand it over to Stephanie and Alan on their team to tell us a little bit more. So give me just a second to bring that video over. And if this starts going and you guys don't hear sound, please feel free to let me know.
A great transition in transportation is underway. Electric vehicles are poised to become the next explosive global transformation, and all of these vehicles will require charging. Today's EV network operators search for every opportunity to grow and manage their EV charging networks with maximum efficiency. Nudo EV is there to help those businesses succeed by providing Nudo EVOS, the ultimate network operating system that helps lower operating costs while improving overall service quality. What makes Nudo EVOS different is its fully autonomous operation that helps businesses achieve the lowest possible operating cost. Controlling and running all EV charging stations, Nudo EVOS takes care of everything, so no service staff is required in the day-to-day operations. Owners can sit back and watch Nudo EVOS continuously grow their revenue. Nudo EVOS is out-of-the-box ready to manage a full spectrum of EV chargers, so network operators can immediately enjoy the benefits of a best-in-class autonomous management platform. Whether you're launching a new EV charging network or want to upgrade your existing infrastructure, we're there to help you take your service offerings to the next level. At Nudo, we are on a mission to accelerate the world's transition to zero-emission transportation. To accomplish this, we provide the best network operating system, empowering our partners worldwide to optimize their operations for maximum revenue generation and the lowest possible operating costs.
Right. So there is our video, and Stephanie and Alan, I will go ahead and hand it over to you guys.
Okay, Sarah, thanks for having us. I'll just start giving us a few highlights of Bethel Electrical Construction, then I'll turn it over to Mr. Alan Kennedy. So who are we? We're Bethel Electrical Construction, and we've been in existence for the greater part of 15 years. So we do have some staying power. So we cover the Mid-Atlantic region. We go north up into the Delaware area, and we go far south as the Virginia Beach area. So we do cover a large variety, a large territory. One thing about us is that we are signatory. We are signatory with IBEW 24 and IBEW 26. Again, that gives us a larger reach, gives us greater access to manpower as well. One thing I am proud to say is that for Baltimore, IBEW 24, I was the first minority woman-owned small business in that local union. So I don't take that lightly, and I like being first. I like being pioneers in things that we do. So wanted to throw that out. Why do we have the union affiliation? Some people say, you know, it works, it doesn't work, but I grew up with hardworking individuals. What I seen was people working in the union, working hard, working for fair wages. So that's why we decided to make that a part of our business and to grow. And what we do is we allow ourselves to be a part of a diverse workforce, men, women, across all different types of individuals, all different types of backgrounds, different workforce, just to diversify our workforce. We know that oftentimes that's what our customers want to see. So we want to show the diversity and give opportunities to individuals as well. In the Maryland side of the house, we do a lot of work with the Maryland Department of General Services. Last year, we had a contract valued over $1 million in which we were beginning to do the installation of the EV charging stations, which Mr. Alan Kennedy will talk about some more. So we are knowing that as we've been around for 15 years, that we too, as an electrical construction company, we need to evolve as well. So we evolved ourselves with bringing aboard staff, individuals, manpowers who are equipped and who are trained to deliver the services in this ever-evolving society with the EV charging stations. What type of projects? We focus more so on the commercial side of the house. Again, moving more towards the EV charging stations. We are minority, women-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned small business as well. So we've been around for a while. And although we do have the set-asides, I say that because we are qualified. We've been around, like I said, for 15 years. We have the staying power. So we have the resources, we have the references to speak to who we are as a company. And I'm excited to be a part of working more so in Virginia. We have a pool of individuals who are ready. They're ready to roll up their sleeves and to get in and be a part of the Clean Air Energy Program. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kennedy.
Right. I don't know whether you can see me or not. Can you hear me first of all?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure you can hear me because I cannot see. I had to switch up in the technology a little bit, but here's what it is. My name is Alan Kennedy. I'm a project manager with Bethel Electric Construction. And I am excited because Nudo has made it even easier for the end user. Because one of the things I was charged with is make it affordable. And we have made it affordable, not only affordable, but easy to use. And so I was going on to the new site today and I was excited. They've made some new changes. There are a lot of things that we can do, but one of the things that need to be said is that we customize this to fit you. The customer, we are customizing it to fit the end user. So what we have already done, it's very easy to use. All you need is a QR code. You walk up with your phone and you can get right onto the payment part of it. It doesn't take long to use. You don't have to go through no process or anything like that. I mean, as long as you have your QR or you can use your credit card, Visa, Master, it's an easy process, perfect for college. Now, speaking of college, at JMU, we were able to pick up a contract from JMU, and it is for working with them because we know that we can make this work for the university. We know that it would be an awesome setup because being that you're in college, you don't want to waste all day trying to get the charging done. And you can just walk up with your smartphone and, get the QR and you're already in. You can start paying with it. And not only that, we're dealing with the commercial part of it as well as the residential part of it and the industrial part. Came out recently, we were looking, they had at one time 180 kWs. They've stepped it up to 360 kWs now. So in other words, when it comes to fleet, the challenge. When it comes to multitasking, they have made their system where it'll balance out the power. And that is awesome because if you got more than 7 or 8 people working, guess what? It will balance it out where everybody's getting what they need in charging. So in other words, everybody get a chance to get the power and get out. They have the quick charge and everything else. Now, there are a lot of things I could continue to say, but we want to leave it with this. This is the last part of my statement, and that would be we're a turnkey. We'll be able to do your structural engineer, your electrical engineer, noodle design, and then dealing with the utility company. We can put all that together for you. Bethel has been working at it a long time and working hard at it, and they have put this thing together so well that we're just want to be a turnkey. In other words, you got a problem, call us. And you say you can't figure it out, you don't want to worry about it, give us a call and we put it in place for you. We'll start from the beginning to the end and then hand you the keys to your vehicle. Is that good enough?
That was
And I
beautiful,
can't-
Alan.
Thank you. I've been nervous all day, so.
No, you did. That is great. And you guys have really great timing too. So yeah, as Alan said, if you guys want to figure these things out, give the folks a call. They can work with your direct situations. And as we move forward, I will pull up the next part of the presentation. Thank you both, Alan and Stephanie. That was great. It's great to hear about your guys' diverse backgrounds. And up next, we'll hear about Nova Charge. So Will, I will hand it over to you now.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to you and Bruce for setting up this call today. So a little bit about Nova Charge. We've been around since 2008. We were brought on to address the growing need of the industry. I actually started with Nova Charge in January of 2009. So kind of seen the industry evolve from concepts of the Chevy Volt, the Nissan Leaf, through reality. So one of our things, we like to provide a lifetime value to our customers. Go ahead, the next slide. So it's a little bit about us. Obviously, you're probably wondering, why is this guy from Florida here talking to everyone from Virginia about, EV charging? So one of the things is we've been around for quite a while. As I said, we have worked as far up as the DC, Maryland area for a lot of our customers. We have them listed on here. So we've just finished up, round one of a project here in Florida where we've deployed over 650 ports, and we're actively working with Pepco Delmarva on some of their rollouts. So we've got a lot of reach into the area. We were back in 2011, part of the ChargePoint America program, where we worked with Washington, D.C. and D.C. Department of Transportation, all of those surrounding customers, where we were putting in the first level 2 charging stations, at least publicly facing, or publicly fleet facing, back in that time frame. So even though I'm based out of Florida, I've made many trips up to Virginia. I've got family that lives up there, and actually my next door neighbor's daughter just graduated last fall from JMU, and she was an alumni who was on the golf team. So it's kind of a very intriguing mix of how small of a world it is. Go ahead to the next slide. So about us, we kind of work with different, there's probably some animations in here, and I apologize for that. Yes, this happens when I let my team create these things. So really kind of what we do is we look at ourselves as a next generation EV charging solution. We have hardware, software. We have a lot of different options that are available to our customers. So we have level 2 DC fast charging. Our level 2 solutions are anywhere from 32 amp output, so 7.6 kW, all the way up to 19.2 kilowatt output. So that's perfect for overnight fleet type charging. We have a network backend solution that is available that kind of gives a full host of options to our customers. So it allows you to track reports. So there's a fleet side of it. So any of you fleet operators on here, we can provide, full fleet reports. Any universities that need to track and offer different solutions to different customers, we have that available for you as well. And because our system is open standards, it allows you to have a host of different hardware vendors on it. So it's not as if you have one unit or one brand of unit, you have to stick with that. You actually can have it migrate across multiple hardware vendors. So you may have something that's existing, we may be able to put the cloud platform on it. Apologize for that. So yes, this kind of gives you a little bit of information about the charging station. I'm, don't want to talk too much on it because I know we have limited time, but everyone can take a look at this afterwards. But yes, it kind of gives you all of the different features, availabilities of it. Our units are NEMA 4 enclosure, so built to withstand the elements. We have them deployed, as close to about 150 feet from the ocean, and then, all the way in the extreme northwest of the country. So we kind of have a lot of the different varieties that units can be deployed in, and they're working just beautifully. And so this is just a brief little info on the 19.2 kilowatt we're starting to get. As I'm sure a lot of you fleet operators who may have the F-150 Lightnings inbound, we're getting a lot of questions about them, as far as, do we need the level 2? Do we need DC fast charging? We're seeing sometimes that, in a way, the 19.2 kilowatts, very close to a 24 kilowatt DC fast charger. So the cost can be, upwards of a third savings or 2/3 savings, and will allow you to obviously get something very close, an overnight fleet solution, and will give you something, obviously, it could be a little bit easier and scalable for you. Just listing some of our level 3 partners, our DC fast charging partners. So obviously you work with, the BTC Power, the FSX, the ABBs, and all of them are on our cloud platform. So again, everything from 22.5 kilowatts all the way up to 350 kilowatt units. And this just kind of gives a little brief overview on the network, just saying, obviously, the different environments that we can work in. Obviously, if you have multiple campuses, multiple business models, everything can be there for you. Easy, simple way to manage and track usage. And obviously we want to give a world-class driver experience. So we like to say, obviously you can, if your very first time at our cloud platform, whether it's, fleet, university, public, clearly you can start charging in less than 5 minutes. It's that easy. So yes, I think that is about it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Will. Sorry about the animations, guys. They just kept coming, but I think it made for a dynamic experience. So thank you, Will. And again, everyone, start thinking of those questions. You can start putting them in the chat, because once we get through the OptConnect team's presentation, we will go into Q&A. When we get there, we'll either encourage you guys, you can put them in the chat, or we'll let you guys just unmute and ask them. So start thinking about those questions, and I will hand it over to Andrew and Amy with OptConnect for their presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you guys for joining. I'm Andrew Lee, and I'm with OptConnect, and Amy Hillman, our VP of Sales, is on the call as well, but she is just leaving GTSC, so she's on the road. But yeah, she'll be chiming in as well. Next slide, please. So OptConnect, we have been around since 2012, and we are a Black and veteran-owned EV charging service provider. We do full turnkey services, from the installation, hardware sourcing, and the network. And our specialty is actually in the back end of the software, where we create the driver and site host web portal dashboard and a driver app mobile application for the drivers. And so currently we have over 2,000 charging ports deployed in over 22 states in Canada. And we specialize in fleet, multifamily, and workplace EV charging solutions. Next slide, please. And so, yeah, so as a full service EV charging provider, we do the consulting, planning, and engineering, sale and installation of EV charging stations, operations, maintenance, and driver support. And for the EV charging stations, we have a wide variety of level 2, from 40 amps all the way to 100, to have that kind of flexibility. And from DC, we have 24 kilowatt all the way up to 180 as well, and different partners. We are fully OCPP compliant, which means our network can be added on to any other OCPP compliant stations and vice versa as well. Next slide, please. And yeah, so here's just kind of a little overview of our charging stations and kind of our partners. On the very left hand side for our level 2, we have our UpConnect private labeled light-on unit, which comes in a 40 amp or 80 amp version. And in the middle, we have our UpConnect Clipper Creek unit, which is a very reliable unit. Comes with a 3-year standard warranty. And we work with Clipper Creek to internally network them. And on the right is the BTC Power level 2 unit, which comes with a screen. And for the high powered level 2, that is our kind of bread and butter for that one. That is a Clipper Creek CS100. And which is primarily used for fleet and medium heavy duty vehicles. And for our level 3 DC fast charging stations, we have the ABB 24 kilowatt wall box, the ABB Terra models from 54 all the way to 180, the BTC Power 50 and 100 kilowatt, and the Rhombus 65 and 125 kilowatt. And the Rhombus units, these ones are pretty interesting because they are V2G, which means vehicle to grid, where you can transport energy back from the vehicle back into either the building or the energy grid itself. And on the right, we have a little snippet of our web portal, which the site hosts will own and kind of be able to log in, access, and be able to set the rates and any parking fees, any idle fees, anything like that. Can make them align with time of use rates or anything like that for your local utility. Next slide, please. And yeah, our cloud software platform kind of gives you a whole kind of tool kit to kind of manage everything, manage any maintenance tickets, set notifications, get any reporting for charging data sent automatically to your inbox as well. Next slide, please. And yeah, with UpConnect, the load management or active load management comes standard with our networking services. And so we have balanced charging, which the charge level will be throttled down, up and down with the shared available energy. And through this one, every car kind of gets equal share as they're plugged in. Next slide. And then there's a first in, first out, where the first car that is plugged in will get a full charge, while secondary and other cars that are plugged in after will get an equal share of available load after. And then once the first car is complete, that additional energy is reimbursed back. Next slide, please. And yeah, with these load management capabilities, you'll be able to kind of avoid costly transformer upgrades and really tweak and design your EV charging system to the best of its capacity by kind of trying to schedule when best rates are, and yeah, avoiding any kind of really costly upgrades. Next slide, please. And yeah, the UpConnect software is also able to tie in with renewable energy and battery storage as well to kind of create microgrid infrastructures. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. And also we have a proprietary Bluetooth kind of connection for where cellular connectivity is kind of poor or it's kind of really expensive to bring in any cellular boosters, and Cat5 or Wi-Fi is also unavailable. Kind of for any rural areas or kind of in deep parking levels underground. And this is kind of like a low-cost solution where the networking rides off the back of the driver's cell phone to communicate with our network. Next slide, please. And yeah, this is the kind of contract price. We kind of gave our whole offering of our products, all our different level 2 and level 3 products, along with kind of our charging as a service model, which is called OPAS, UpConnect as a Service. So it's kind of really hard to see the kind of spreadsheet. So I have the spreadsheet in Excel form ready available. So if you're interested, please reach out to me. My email is available there. And it's kind of split up into 4 different tabs where there's kind of a master pricing sheet containing all the pricing. And if you want to break it up to just level 2, you're looking at, or level 3, that's a separate tab. And then if you just want to look at I'll connect as a service, which is essentially like a leasing model with lower upfront capital costs. That's the last tab. And yeah, I think that's it. Amy, if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I just love to say I love clean cities. I worked on the EV project starting in 2011, and I gave away all the Department of Energy chargers I had at Clean Cities meetings. I'm just coming from a Clean Cities conference, and we're just really thrilled with the opportunity to, continue to improve society by lowering the carbon through electrification. And I grew up in Maryland, so I have a lot of family there. My grandfather's buried at Arlington, Louise. So it's definitely a part of the country near and dear to me as well. And very familiar with it, putting a lot of charging in that area. And it's so neat when an organization does something like this to offer solutions and opportunities to us smaller businesses.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Andrew and Amy. And Amy, thank you guys for participating, because without you guys, we wouldn't have the availability to get this work done. So now I will go ahead and open it up to everyone for questions. We will get a couple in the chat, but also we're encouraging everyone, if you want to just use the raise your hand function so we can get moving. And then as we go, if you know who specifically you want to ask a question to, please bring that up at the beginning. Otherwise, we'll work our way through the group. And I see Dave Gelman has his hand raised, so I'll go ahead and hand it to you, Dave, while I look at the chat.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. I did notice nobody mentioned what I call the 2 dirtiest words in electric vehicles: demand charges. For those of you with relatively sophisticated software systems in your charging, particularly where you're looking at fleet applications, does your software allow a fleet manager to put in what they see as their guidance or best case scenarios for addressing demand charges? Kind of how to do the managed charging, basically. Yep.
I just came from a session on this at the Clean Cities conference I was at, and the biggest thing, sure, you can do it, but I'd want to talk with you and your utility about, what's the best case scenario for demand charges. They're going to come. Is it DC? Is it AC? And what strategy for load management would we institute to best avoid them, based on routes, based on dwell times, and based on obviously how much capacity you're putting in.
And Will?
Yeah, David, I'll follow up on Amy. Yeah, we have the exact same thing. We give the ability both to the utility and also to the station owner. So they'd have the ability to throttle it down in percentages or even in single amp increments. And that's all done through the software side. And it's all near real time. So they can easily go in, see it. But yes, and clearly, if you're getting those demand charges, I'd say certainly work with the utility, find out when they are, actually occurring, and implement it.
Thanks.
Excellent. I will next go to a question that we got in the chat, and then Ben, I will send it to you next. Okay. So let's see. We have a question from Jim Manley, a frequent Tech Happy Hour attendee. Thanks for joining, Jim. He's asking, why do we hear such bad press on non-Tesla chargers like Electrify America regarding charger uptime? I don't know if this is something, if Electrify America is something that our speakers can talk to, but do you have anything you would like to say about charger uptime? I'll open it up to any of our speakers who have any comments on that.
Well, I'll always say something if no one else does about charging, because DCs are rough. Everyone here who sells DCs knows they take a lot of touch. They're fragile flowers, though they look beastly sometimes. And so one of the things I think all of us has done, I don't want to say just us, in fact, many on the call have excelled at it, is, we sell maintenance plans mandatory with DCs. so that they can get that touch they need to stay working. EA has, gone through many iterations, and in the early days, the products they chose have less reliability, and they continue to evolve and work on it. I mean, it's just a high touch point, and redundancies are built in. I will say I pulled up to a Tesla supercharger in a rented Tesla, and one didn't work, and I went to the next one. So I didn't report it or anything. I think they also have downtime. I don't know if that's helpful.
No, actually, Amy, I'll follow up with what you're saying. I think, with traveling, you see, with Electrify America, some of them, they can be as few as 4 ports, maybe, 8 stations. And, I'm traveling, basically I have a Model 3 that I drove from Florida up to Maryland to meet with customers. And on that road trip, I encountered, some locations that maybe had 6, but when I was in the Richmond area, they had 20 locations. And so it's a lot easier, for drivers to, like Amy said, if you're in one, you pull up, there's an issue, you just move to the next one. Unfortunately, some of the other locations just may not be that way, but I can't speak to uptime from anything other than that.
And I saw Alan. Yep. See you on video
Yes.
now.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to make sure I use this right. With Nudo, they have like their system is sending an impulse at all times. So they are fixing the problem if their problem comes around, or if they're not online, they're taking care of before somebody called in to them. So their system is constantly sending an impulse out and in, and making sure that it's available when someone pulls up.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And then I think we can move over to Ben with your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate it, Sarah. And thank you all for hosting this happy hour, enjoying my beer and enjoying the presentations. To the maintenance point, I think that brings up, as we evolve and do grants and programs, to encourage the eligibility of maintenance or operational costs right into that, to make sure that the programs to ensure the chargers are up get included. I think that's an important part. And as the federal programs are getting rolled out, that is something that's going to be included in there. So, that's great to see that there's some requirements to have a certain, I think it's 90%, 97% uptime for these chargers. So it's good to see those requirements in there. But I just wanted to answer a little bit to the demand charge question, because I work for ChargePoint, and Luis, know you're a good vendor of ours and have our equipment on your contract. Yeah, our equipment certainly can manage those demand charges or time of use rates through the software. And one of the great things is not only can you do it manually, but it also takes in utility signals or open source information from these utilities to automatically set these pricings. But something else that Dominion has, which I think is really good, and just to highlight some of their rate design, is that Dominion Energy has a commercial EV rate for DC fast charging, where it's a volumetric rate. So you're just paying the kilowatt hour price for it rather than having demand charges attached to it. So as the fleet space evolves more, I think we're going to see a lot more of those programs that encourage managed charging from the fleets that will lower price. And, just as we use the grid more efficiently, it will encourage that too. So good question to the person who brought that up.
Excellent. Thank you for that additional feedback. And we'll take the next question that I see in the chat. This is from Queen Shabazz out of Petersburg. They're asking if any of the featured speakers that we have today work with nonprofit organizations that can help assist securing EV chargers and stations. This would be separate from the contract, but I know you guys work in multiple spaces. Oh, here we go. I think you are on mute, Luis. So let's see. There you go.
Well, no, they need to take a good look at the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Coalition, see if they're eligible for grant funding under that program, which I strongly recommend. Obviously, there's other programs, the Clean Cities Coalitions. I mean, we're all now, downloading all the information under the new passage of legislation on Congress that's got quite a bit of funding available for infrastructure. So you're going to see some new opportunities coming out in the near future that will make help with your decision making. So
Excellent, and thank you for the Clean Cities plug,
Yeah.
as always. And Will, I saw that you unmuted yourself as well, if you have anything to add.
Oh, no, I'd say feel free. I mean, reach out. We're always intrigued to hear more. So certainly we'll discuss and see what we can possibly do.
Excellent. All right, and that was the last question that I have in the chat. So if anyone in our audience has any more, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to raise your hands. And if not, I will go and see if we had any questions that were submitted ahead of time. Here we go. We had a lot of questions from registrations asking how groups can purchase EV chargers. The great news is through this contract. School districts are also eligible. That's one group that I forgot to mention, but I know we have a couple of school districts on the call. So if you are looking, this is a great place for you. Basically, if you are a public entity in Virginia, you should be eligible for this. I'm going to put the link to the contract in the chat again. And then I went ahead and pulled everyone's contact information as well, instead of having you guys navigate through. So here are the phone numbers and emails of all of our great speakers today that you guys can copy and paste. They are listed in the order that we heard from them to make it a little bit easier on you guys. But definitely reach out to them. As all of them mentioned, they can tailor this process to what your guys' needs are. So there should be a solution for you guys within that contract there. But yeah, I'll stop talking and see if anyone has any other questions.
Just want to make a comment, everyone. This is Bruce Belk with Virginia Clean Cities. Just so pleased to have these professionals with us here today, and everybody who's attending. You know, we're on the verge of a lot of EV infrastructure going to come our way in Virginia and beyond. And these professionals, these 4 companies are ready for it. They've been doing this work for years, and it's just so good to have everybody connected today about this.
And this is Alan Harned, Director of Virginia Clean Cities, chiming in. Just first off, thank you, Sarah, and to all the presenters. This was phenomenal and very helpful. All municipal governments are starting to install chargers as they build new buildings. And there's a massive fleet transition underway with some really exciting tax credits landing and programs that should be even more accessible to local governments during the purchase process. So really excited about what's to come. And we're going to keep pushing this contract and presenting contractual purchase options for folks. So if it's hard to buy off of this contract, or if you need information in a different way, please keep us posted. Let us know, let the vendors know, let the contract holders, so that we can, better serve everybody. Because we want to be sure that if you need an electric vehicle charger, you can get it. And then I saw a note about like help with chargers. We do have a few charger demonstration and deployment programs, some pilot fleet charging, where we're buying a handful of really light duty chargers. So I'd love to connect with fleets on all sorts of things. So glad to just be here with all of you.
Yes, thank you, Alan, for those comments. And as always, Virginia Clean Cities is a resource to help connect you guys to these contracts and vendors and incentives. So if you have questions, reach out to us and we'll get you connected with who you need to be connected with. I'll let people, if they have any additional questions, go ahead and put that in, but I will go ahead and drop, as usual, the link to our next technology happy hour in the chat. This will be next month on September 15th, I believe. I wanted to get the date right. Don't want to send you guys the wrong places. Yes, September 15th at 4 p.m. And we are going to be featuring the Green Operator Program. We'll be hearing from the Ecologics team. So if anyone has any interest in ports, this would be a great place to go. It's not specifically about electrification at this time, but it is about a current program that we have open to help get old, dirty diesel vehicles off the road. So if you are interested in ports, or you know people who work for the Port of Virginia, please invite them, send them our way, because we have some great incentive opportunities for them. So that'll be next month. And then in October, there is going to be a Virginia Clean Energy Summit, which I know a number of people will probably be at. So we will be off for that month, but we encourage anyone who is interested to look into attending that summit because it will be a great place for all your clean technology needs, including a number of great demonstrations that'll be there.